now entering the Horror Sanctum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and TJ. And this week we're going meta. No, not another Scream film, but rather another Wes Craven ditty, 1994's New Nightmare, directed by the man himself and widely recognized to be the first meta horror film. Joining us on this journey is our pal, the one, the only, Mr. Vito Trigo.
Hi-oh.
Vito, welcome
Hi.
back. I think it's been since Christmas, maybe Halloween. Um, I don't know how Kellen feels about this movie, so I don't know how this one's going to go. It could be fun, could be normal.
I'm in a peaceful place, so wherever his batshit opinion might be, I might just go along with it. Who knows?
um, all right, so you should be familiar with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. This was the last installment before the remake that people don't discuss, so we won't either. But if you're not familiar, reality and fantasy meet in unsettling ways in this installment of the long-running horror series, which finds director Wes Craven and actors Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund all portraying themselves. As Heather considers making another film with Craven, her son Dylan falls under the spell of the iconic disfigured villain Freddy Krueger. Eventually, Langenkamp must confront Freddy's demonic spirit to save the soul of Dylan. 1994, but spoilers nonetheless.
Indeed. In 1994, well, I mean, the 90s were a weird, especially early to mid 90s pre-Scream was kind of weird for horror. We have our handful of gems that kind of come across, some of those being Wes Craven gems, some of those being some John Carpenter gems. But I actually, because I wasn't in the know as a 10-year-old, like I didn't have the internet yet. I wasn't really in the know of like this was a Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger canon film. I remember seeing this VHS cover for probably a couple years before I ended up catching it on cable and making the connection at some point. It's like New Nightmare. What is New Nightmare? And at that point, I think I was just kind of starting to learn who Wes Craven was, and mainly because they started doing the thing that John Carpenter always did. They started putting his name above the films, uh, which helped with the name recognition and the
I
video
bet he
store.
wishes he hadn't done that with some of them, though.
Probably not.
Wes
Although,
Craven's Shocker.
right, I like Shocker.
I like Shark. I'm thinking
Me
like
too. Me
Mind
too.
Rippers. Mind
Oh,
Me
Rippers. Has
too.
anyone else
But
seen that one?
no one brings that up though.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, Wes Craven doesn't have the same canon that John Carpenter has for most of his career, unfortunately. But when he does a good swing, it's a good swing. And I've always really loved this film. It was a pleasant surprise when I think I first probably watched it on like TBS when it was first started airing on there.
Oh yeah.
When I first got basic
Yeah.
cable, was living the high life as a middle school kid. And
Yeah, 'cause I think that TBS it was like always on circulation. It was
yeah,
always on
well, they
at,
would
at a
play
certain
all of
point.
the Freddy films, but they would play them
Yeah.
out of sequence and never more than like two back to back. It would never really make sense. So, like the whole Freddy canon, it took me a while to finally just watch them all in sequence and be like, oh, where what they were going for. Even though once you get into those, four, five, six, it don't. There's not a lot of sense making there at a certain point anyway. It's just there for the laughs and the wisecracks and the weird set pieces, kills and stuff. But I'm there for most of it. This film, as Jay said, is widely considered to be like the real first major meta horror film, and most people would accredit without this film, and specifically without Wes Craven making this film, we don't get Scream, and we don't get all the pretenders to Scream that we're trying to mimic Scream to a lesser extent. You don't get probably one of the longest running franchises probably without this film. So I think we owe a lot of debt to this film. Personally, for me, in the canon of the Nightmare on Elm Street canon, I have an unpopular opinion. It's my second favorite. For me, it's the original, it's this one, and then it's Dream Warriors. I know a lot of people like Dream Warriors the best. Um, a lot of people don't like this film that much. They're just kind of like it's mid, but I watched it a lot as a middle school kid on cable, and I just have a nostalgic place for it. But also, I recognize how influential this film was for something it was doing that nobody was doing, and in a pivotal time where there was not a lot of cool stuff happening in horror. It was like everybody's kind of looking back to the 80s trying to keep that train going, and it just wasn't happening, and it needed a refresh, and audiences weren't ready for this refresh yet. But this is what paved the path for the total Scream revival that we get. It was just 2 years later. A lot of people don't realize the 1-2 punch this actually was, that just a couple years after this totally reinvigorated the genre with Scream.
Yeah, like this was the jab, and then Scream was the with the strong right cross.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always loved the makeup on this. I believe it was a lot more prosthetic pieces than the classical makeup that they were doing in a lot of the early Friday the 13th, similar to what they would do later, a lot more prosthetic uh, appliances, similar to what they would do later with Freddy versus Jason. And I always thought the way that they kind of revealed those, almost like those slashes of skin and the makeup, I always thought it looked more demonic, which I think they were going for a bigger idea that Freddy's not just Freddy Krueger. It's
Well,
like an entity. It's a
yeah.
demonic entity that has pre-existed and is, constantly coming into these different iterations. And, we're, it's basically the idea of what do they call that? It's a what's the thing where it's like the thought, you have a thought of a thing and you will it into existence. A lot of people think that's,
Manifestation?
no, it's like a T word, like a totem, or
Toto?
I
Hold
have
the line.
I,
Hold the
I have
line.
to I have
Africa.
Oh,
to
but TJ, were you talking about like his design? I see what
yeah.
you're saying. Because in a way, it's kind of like it's not so much scars, but it's like the demons trying to burst out of the image
Yeah.
of Freddy in a way. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the evil is unveiling itself through the visage and the image of what we know Freddy to be, and it is becoming more of this demonic thing. I like the new appliance with the like the
Claw.
metal slash bone looking hand claw that does the whole possessed hand thing on its own for one of those couple of those kills early in the
Well, and it
film.
is more demon like because it has like the extra claw as opposed to the four.
Yeah, instead of just the four, you got the
More animal,
thumb
more
claw.
animal esque. Yeah.
So I've always liked this film. I've always liked the meta concept of it. I always had a crush on Heather Langenkamp, and I always thought that she was the prettiest she
Yeah.
ever was in this film, for whatever reason. I don't know. She's got that mommy core action.
But TJ, it
Uh,
was only 10 years later. I mean,
I
she's
know it's only 10 years later, so I mean it's really a stretch. She's playing an 18-year-old, in '84. It's kind of a stretch she would have that old of a kid, honestly. But I always thought it was cool. Like once I learned more about the people, like having Bob Shea, the head of New Line Cinema, in a film before anybody knew who Bob Shea was, and just having Wes Craven and Robert Englund be actual characters in the film, and like Freddy can exist in the same universe that Robert Englund can exist, and they're not one and the same. And the idea of Freddy and the entity that possesses that image is a separate thing, and it's almost like been rebirthed by cinema itself into the real world. I mean, just the layers of that I really appreciate. And that kid Miko Hughes, man, he was one of the best little kid actors from Pet Cemetery, from Full House, from all the '90s things, man. He was great. I thought he was
He's the
super
same kid in
creepy.
every horror movie he's in, though. Like he's
He
the same
is,
character.
but he's always just that creepy, like kind of dead eye stare kid that you want in a good horror movie like this. When he tapes the steak knives to his fingers and goes after his mom, like that's creepy. Watching the TV that's not plugged in. There's a lot of cool set pieces in this movie that I just really appreciate. So I won't say too much more. This has a soft spot in my heart. I picked it as one of the random draws for us, and I'm glad that we finally happened upon it. But Vito, what's your story with this movie?
Kind of, I mean, well, I was much more familiar with the Nightmare series because of my sisters. My sisters were into it. I remember them having the soundtrack for Nightmare on Elm Street 4, uh, the Dream Master. I just remember like that was kind of, I think, maybe my first introduction to Freddy was that CD cover where he's got like, where it's like clipping into his face a little bit.
Hmm.
So I think that's where I got the Freddy bug, or I knew who Freddy was from around, that around that time, about 4 or 5 or something like that, or 6. But and then so when New Nightmare came out, I remember I was just like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I was trying to figure it out. My young mind was just trying to figure out the concept of the movie, especially when you saw the trailers. Because the trailers was like there was kind of a straightforward trailer, and then there was one where it was like documentary style, where they're interviewing Robert Englund, they're interviewing Robert Shea, and they're like, "This movie's going a little strange. We don't know what's going on." It's like, what is this? So it was being very innovative from the jump. Uh, so, but I just remember watching it and just going along for the ride and just loving every minute of it. And rewatch. It's one of those when you rewatch it again and again, it gets better and better. You appreciate the score, you appreciate the subtle cookies in there for like movie fan, like for like hardcore movie fans. Just like, can you come in the dream with me? Like that only happens in the movies. That's a nod to 3. You know, there's some more obvious ones, which is like, where's your past? Screw your past. It's like that's one. They're just littered in there a little bit, and like also Freddy's creepiness is like back to being creepy and not being funny creepy. Because there's that line he says when he's like, "I touched him." I was like, I rewatched that yesterday, and I was like, I'm about to burn this motherfucker down. What do you mean you touched my son, bitch? I was like,
Yeah,
I was
it's
getting fired
creepy.
up watching it. I was just like, motherfucking Freddy, motherfucking creepy ass bitch. And I was getting fired up watching it again, and watching it again as a father is something that makes me go a little bit like, damn. It gets a lot more emotional, especially with like Julie's death, and when you can actually see Freddy do the classic up the wall under the ceiling death. That
Hmm.
was in 1,
Yeah.
but you actually see Freddy doing it this time. But you go back and forth, and like when he's just like, yeah, you know, all that stuff. So it was very effective. I think it was much more emotional movie that people give it credit for, which I think is like the thing. I think maybe it throws off some like the horror hounds a little bit that want that blood and guts, and they want Freddy being like the game show host who he's like, "Who dies tonight?" But I like the feels. I like the feels because my favorite part in the movie is when Nancy. I remember when Heather is talking to John Saxton and the switch happens,
Hmm.
and like he's like, and John Saxton is so fucking good, dude, because when it happens like that, and you're like, wait, what's going? You see the vibe entirely changes in the scene, and he's so good. And when they're outside the house, and she's like, it's like, why are you calling me Nancy, John? Why are you calling me John? And like the whole coming down and Freddie coming up from the bed, that entire sequence, I just love that. I love it so much. And then everything from that to the end is just like, I'm like, I love it so much. I mean,
But if you haven't seen
no,
the first movie and people are just happening upon this like out of sequence, not knowing all of that history, I could understand where people would be like, "What's happening?"
yeah. But then again, that's why you could say like that. That it was like for Wes Craven, it was maybe a love letter to the fans that gave him his career a bit. It's like, if you love my movies, here you go. I love what I do too. I love making movies because you can understand like where like this movie. When you watch this, you understand what's missing from the other movies. That level of suspense, that level of questioning yourself. That Wes does that he did in the Scream series so very well. You know, like meaningful cutaways. Like what's this like? Like cutting on Julie when she's like listening to her talk. You're like, Julie, why do you look so weird, Julie? What's going on? No, even there was like a version of the script that Julie was in league with Freddy, and I think they backed out at that at the last minute. The actress talks about it where she's like, I was supposed to be like a disciple of Freddy, but then they got rid of that entirely thing. They got rid of all that, and I was like, that explains the cutaways of her being like looking kind of creepy a little bit here and there. But
That sounds like Halloween 6.
but the filmmaking like is so like, and there's so many like callbacks to the other parts of the series. Like even like the highway sequence could be him going like, okay, I'm going for the 3 to 5 area where it's a little bit more bombastic and crazy, where he's like picking the kid up with the blade and everything. So I feel like the movie did a good job of honoring what was great about the series, but also honoring its history at the same time. So that's why I love it. So, but
So
as
Wes
a father,
Craven's
though,
New
I'm like,
Nightmare,
fuck Freddy.
1994, an
Ah, la,
hour and
la.
52 minutes,
Don't do it.
78% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Don't do it.
For those who don't know, I saw this for the first time for our weekly segment today. I watched, and I gave it a 2, and that's because, and you don't get mad at me because this is the whole reason. Freddy is my least favorite of all the big bads. His whole character I just can't get behind. Like I have the
Oh,
glove. The look, the fedora, everything is there, but this backstory and the character himself, it just gives me the ick. I don't know
oh,
how else to put it. So it's not that I don't enjoy this movie, which I do think for me, it's kind of a mess. It feels like he made 3 movies in one, which is why I think it also almost clips the 2-hour mark. It's at times a comedy, at times it's an action film, and then at times it is a horror film. But the whole premise of Freddy Krueger being a child killer slash molester just gives me the ick. And that his whole shtick, like the tongue stuff, kills me. It's always the tongue stuff. Every every movie. I think Wes Craven he liked the little mouth on the phone so much. He's like, I'm gonna use that so much, and it just keeps coming back, and it just always like the sound. Like I hate ASMR. That just the noise ASMR, and that's what it is. Even at the end when he goes to eat the kid, his tongue's like, I'm like, oh god, and it just creeps me out, and it's just one of those things. Thank you, Vito. I really. It's just one of those things where it's just his whole shtick is not for me. So it's hard for me. Like I get its place in horror history. I get its place in horror lore. I get why he's so big, because if you take away the child aspect of it, then he's kind of just he's like almost like the comedic version of a slasher, where he's got one-liners. It's like every 80s action movie. He's like the culmination of that for horror, where he's dropping one-liners and making funny jokes.
He doesn't really do that in this film, though.
well,
He still has his moments.
well, that's what I was talking about, where it's like giving a callback to its history, because because like I get what you're saying, K Dog, about like he's actually the one slasher whose merchandise I don't really wear, because I have that thought in my mind
Yeah,
that you're talking about. Yeah.
and it's what turns me off on him. It's why I don't. The only Nightmare on Elm Street movie I own is because Jay hates me and he gave me the newest one, which I still haven't watched. But
It's just Rorschach as Freddy, so I don't.
and he was great as Rorschach. I can't remember his name, but and my daughter quotes that line as I'm not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me. Like, she loves that line. Anyway, Heather Langenkamp is possibly my favorite final girl, because she's one of the few final girls where she is like, oh my god, he's killing people, we have to stop him. And it's like that in every movie. She doesn't back down from Freddy. Like, she's obviously scared because he's some kind of demonic entity. But in every movie, her thought is, okay, how do we stop him? Not, I'm going to run. And that's, a lot of the final girl, that's kind of their thing, run and scream, run and scream, run and scream. And then at the end, they fight back. But she's constantly, even in three, like all of three is basically her like, no, we're going to get a team together and we're going to go in and murder him. So I've always loved that about her. Even in this one, she's piecing it together early. She's realizing something else is going on, and she's down.
Well, in this one, it's much more of an internal battle because she has to come to the realization that this is actually happening. She's fighting against a sense of reality and not reality. Yeah, because but I totally agree with you about the final girl thing, because how many final girls, like Nancy in the first one, went straight to like, okay, I'm going to set up traps. I'm going to get this mother. I got a plan. And she's like talking shit to Johnny Depp. She's like, this, you bastard. When he didn't wake her up and shit. I'm like, it's like, she's on the ball, man. She got there. She's like, lickety split. I'm going to fuck Freddy up.
And I love that. I love that she's so gung-ho to take on the threat. TJ, you mentioned the mask. That's one of my least favorite things in this, is it looks plastic. Like all the scenes where you actually see his face, it doesn't look like Freddy anymore. It looks like they bought a mask and glued it to his face. And you really see it in the close-up at the end when he gets ready to stretch his mouth. You see just how latex it looks. The muscles no longer look real. Like the original Freddy was terrifying because he looked like an actual burn victim. It's like I likened it because the glove is now part of his hand. It's no longer a glove. And I likened it to Spider-Man when they gave his web shooters into his wrists and made it part of him. It's like that's what they did with this. It's like now it's not a glove. It's part of him. He has razor fingers. So the look was off for me.
Wait, can I present an idea that you might just totally shit on? And,
Go for it.
just that, like I said, with like the demon coming out, but like because the demon's coming out, you kind of see the movie aspect of it, like where Freddy is this image of a movie, but then there's this thing underneath that's trying to come out. You know what I mean? So maybe it does look a little more.
I get the idea behind it. Like I said, it's just when you get close, when there's close-ups in it, it just looks so fake. It looks like it looks like latex applied to his face instead of it was made to look human. And I will say the transition at the end, that was confusing for me. Like, so is Freddy the devil in this? Because this kind of retcons the whole premise of Freddy, where now he's more of a creation of Wes Craven, and he's now he's coming to life. And so at the end, when you see him turn into the devil, almost, it's like, so is he a demonic entity in this now?
Well, here's something to think about. Like, this isn't really connecting to the very goes crazy timelines. This is like a one-off. This is like a graphic novel where he's trying to give So he's like, so it is a demon, which is why like it inhabits the idea of Freddy, the image of Freddy, but it's not Freddy.
It's not actually the guy who was Fred Krueger, the child killer.
Well, it's the manifestation of the
idea. Yeah. Because it's like giving power to, he gave power to him because of the image presented. So the demon kind of held on to that.
A created creature where there was no more what was holding him was the story, and when the story died, there was nothing to hold him into that realm or reality or whatever. I did enjoy that. I do think that this definitely is a very important movie because it 100% gave us Scream. That whole meta idea of stepping back and recognizing that you're in a horror film, or recognizing that there's rules that are being given to you in this reality. I just think this is one of those situations where this movie walked so Scream could run, because Scream does it so much better. Scream, it's like he had the idea in this, and then he said, you know what, I'm going to go full bore with it. We're going to go as like fully meta. We're going to have somebody that's a character in the movie explaining the movie as the movie's happening. And I thought that's what makes that such a special movie. And I think the reason Scream works so much more for me than this movie is he went all in on the slasher comedy. Whereas this, like, there's moments, the interstate scene where it feels like he's trying to make a 90s action film. There's moments where he's trying to make a grand slasher film. There's parts of this movie that work, but all together for me, it doesn't. It starts to feel like a mess because it didn't feel like he could settle on one idea. It felt like he had all these ideas he wanted to cram into this movie, and maybe it was because he was like, "This is going to be the last Freddy Krueger movie I make, so I want to get all of my ideas in it." Also, a product of the time, because if you watch this movie and then you watch movies like Spawn and then some of the other kind of horror-esque, what was End of Days with
Whoa,
Arnold?
whoa, whoa,
There's a
whoa, whoa,
lot of
whoa, 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 whoa! Those are particularly bad movies, man.
I'm just saying, like, you can see that, like, that '90s, even
I was feeling you. I was giving you respect for your opinion, but come on, those Spawn and End of Days, they're over here.
I
Okay,
have a
I'm just
soft
saying.
spot for Spawn and End of Days. I mean, I can't hate Arnold.
Well, no one can
that
hate on her,
opening
but I'm just saying,
that
but you can't
opening
deny. I mean,
helicopter scene in that movie is fantastic. I don't care what anybody says. It's so dumb.
yeah.
It's great.
You know I love
But
Arnold. You
it's
know I
that
love Arnold.
it's that '90s vibe, that '90s feel, and every decade has their emotional feel, and this one just kind of it tried to capture all of them all at once, and that's ultimately why I just can't get into this film. It's too busy. I feel like if you would have cut 20 minutes off of it and made it more of a kind of cat and mouse between her and her son and Freddie, and took the bigger picture part away and made it smaller, I feel like it would have been better for me. But that's just me, a guy who can't get behind Freddy Krueger because I don't like Freddy as a villain.
I think I saw
Okay.
this in the 90s. I think it wasn't theater, it was probably TNT. I can tell you where this ranks for me. It's fifth in the line. Nightmare 1, 2, 3, and 4 are better for sure. 2 is really underrated. That being said, this movie is pretty meh. It's not very good, honestly. A lot of 90s cheese going on. Bad earthquakes that aren't realistic. Kellen, I can't believe we're agreeing. Like, I really am shocked. I saw this as a kid.
This is
and
shocking to me.
I liked it so much more as a kid, and I think
TJ, I love you tonight, TJ. It's me and you, baby. It's
I
me and
know.
you.
I think
Where's these bearded haters?
I think rewatching it as an adult, I just noticed all the problems with it. It doesn't feel like a Freddy film. It feels like a 90s New Line Cinema film. It feels like it could be in the same universe as like Dumb and Dumber, Mortal Kombat, any of those. It just doesn't feel like a Freddy film. Heather Langenkamp, she's nice. She's a nice lady. She's a terrible actress. And I think she would even admit that. She's a behind-the-scenes person now. Bless her. I like Heather Langenkamp, but she's a horrible actress. And I think even she would watch this and tell you, oh my God, I'm the shits with acting. Miko Hughes is good as a child actor. Robert Englund is great as Freddy always. He's always good. It's funny to see Wes Craven always play these roles. And this cameo is kind of funny. He just has such a funny personality, so it's funny seeing him play himself.
Well, I think he does. I think he does a good job by like just kind of like I'm going to do it subtle. I'm going to let my voice do the work because I cannot act. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the music is one of the big things that's bad. Is it's so over dramatic. Like the scene where Heather is talking to her husband in the trailer where he's working on the glove inside of the trailer. It's so overdone. It feels like a chase scene. Like they're just talking, and it's like so intense. You're just like, what's about to happen? Like it's like so overdone, and I don't know why they did it that way.
I think I'm listening to that part right now. Actually, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and it's not. I wouldn't even say that the music is like bad music. It just doesn't fit the movie, and I feel like the movie is a mess. It's like two movies meshed together.
Now,
it's
can I say something about the music?
yeah,
I think the music leads up to that final battle.
yeah, but
Which
it
is
doesn't
very
work
operatic.
but it doesn't work.
I feel like, but I feel like it works for me though because I feel like it's very operatic and it goes very fairy tale, very mom preaching the creature thing. So I feel like it led up to that for me.
It would be like us right now talking, and you start hearing like the soundtrack to The Dark Knight randomly. Like why, why? That's my point. Like it doesn't fit. I feel like it is boring and drawn out. They should have cut out 30 to 45 minutes of this movie. It's way too long. They do this whole thing where Heather's creeped out by Robert. Why? I don't know. They never play that up. It's like she's creeped out by Robert, even though he's not Freddy. But it's like the whole movie, it feels like Wes Craven was writing out therapy about why he didn't like New Line Cinema, why he was mad about Freddy, why he got screwed over by money in the first one, why he felt what he feels. It feels like he was writing out therapy for all these ideas, but none of them really added up to anything interesting. I mean, you think about that whole thing where they're talking in the office and you see the script of them talking Like, that's so silly. That is so corny when you really break that down. Um, and then you got Lynn Shay doing her, my brother's the studio head, so I get a cameo in the movie shit, which is the only reason she had an acting career is because her brother was the head of the studio. I'll say it right now. Um,
Damn, John, why you be
I,
hating on people tonight? You're like, you're taking shots at Heather, you're taking shots at Bob
yeah.
here, you're taking shots at Lindsay. You're gonna go down the
Freaky,
line?
Freaky
Well, okay.
Friday.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I will be fair. Bob Shay, I mean, he's talented. He's always been a dickhead. Everyone talks about how much of a dickhead he was in real life. Lynn Shay, she's famous because her brother ran New Line Cinema.
Hey, she's great in Kingpin.
She is good in Kingpin. I will give you that. I think that the special effects are good. I think Robert's good. I just think that the pacing and the writing doesn't work. And there's so many things that they try to do with this, like you're saying, Kellen, that just don't mesh together as a great film.
Do
I
you
do
like the
think
makeup in this one?
I I didn't hate it, but I get what Kellen means is like the end of it when it's like I'm like, I can't. I just the tongue thing, like they're making this movie that they're trying to be serious, right? And the whole movie. And then by the end of it, Freddy's in the clouds, Freddy's got a tongue, he's got a devil. It's like, what movie are you making here? Like, what's the tone? I just and people talk about part one being silly. Like part one is so much better. I mean, part one is like the Shawshank Redemption of this fucking movie. The hands down. Part two is way better than this movie. Part two is an underrated gem. I will say that.
I
to
will
the day
agree
I
with you
die.
there.
No, 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 no. Where part two falls to crap though is when he pops out of that pool and he's just running around like a little maniac.
That's the
Where
best.
part two. That is not the best part.
That's the best
Freddy is not.
part.
That's not the best
That
part.
is the best
Has
part.
anybody
That's
else
not the
watched the
best part.
documentary? Have you watched the documentary Scream Queen?
I haven't
Yes.
yet. I want to.
It
though.
gives
I
so
need
much
to.
insight, which made me appreciate it a lot more.
Well,
'Cause
now I
it's
see
a
it as
gay
like,
film.
yeah,
It's a homosexual film,
it's
and
an
the whole
allegory
time it's
for
like, no, it's not.
homosexuality
No,
and
it's
coming
not.
out.
And then there's that dance. I mean, it's
Oh, it's
100%.
gay.
But the documentary is well worth watching.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's.
Yeah.
I just think it's a. I think it's a misunderstood movie, but it is creepy, and Freddy is very creepy in that movie.
And you know, I'm saying everything up to that. The pool part is where it lost me. When he came
I
out
get
like that,
you.
everything before that, I'm like, it is creepy. It is homoerotic. It is like the flip on what was being told at that time. It was
Right.
a story for somebody else to kind of basically you figured out your sexuality when you watched that movie. But
Right.
but but I mean that it was the pool part that I was like, I'm not thinking of him running around me like, hey everybody, slash.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I liked
Well,
it, but
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Well, the biggest thing with that, and this is all I'll say with that, is the reason I didn't like it for years until I figured out the gay allegory of it and then the subtext of it was the fact that when he comes into the real world, it kind of totally undermines what that character is being in the dream world.
TJ, you and me, baby, you and me. Mwah.
It's still a better movie than this movie. This movie sucks.
Why? John, why the bile? Why the bile?
So anyway, yes, Scream was a better idea for doing this, and Scream would be a better movie to do this as a sequel if it was actually a real killer coming after the actors. That would be a better idea. This movie was a failure. It was a mesh of ideas that didn't work. It was boring. It was dumb writing. It's just nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, and it's a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down for John. Thumbs
We're doing
sideways.
thumbs now. We're doing thumbs. How about this thumb? All right.
My turn. So this movie's important. I do not deny that whatsoever. It's very important to the genre. It's groundbreaking to a degree. Let's start with the makeup. This version of him sucks. I hate it. His hollow, like his eyes are so deep where you can clearly tell it's a prosthetic. And like the versions we had leading up to that, he looked great and he was creepier, I would say. He looked more like a burnt-up hot dog, which is essentially what he was, right? So I didn't like the look. I loved the opening of this movie. The opening is the only nostalgia I have for this movie because I don't know if he's my least favorite villain in the horror genre, but Nightmare on Elm Street, aside from, you know, 1, 2, and 3 and the remake, I'm just kidding. Um, I like those a lot, but the rest of the series falls flat for me. So it's not my favorite film series in the genre by any means. Um, if I'm being honest, it's kind of side by side with Saw as far as like how much I like genres. Like it's a, you know, Saw 1, the newest one. There's like 2 or 3 Saws that I could watch again, but there's also some that are just like, okay, what did he turn into the pizza in this one? Or was it the, you know, the TV? Like they kind of run together. So it's never been my favorite franchise. It's not one I grew up watching often either, aside from the first one. So this one, honestly, this may be my second time watching it start to finish. Um, I've seen bits and pieces. I remember going to a Halloween party a couple years ago with Mike and Becca from Walmart, TJ, and they had it on at their Halloween party. I'm like,
Didn't they
which
get
one
divorced?
is this? I'm like, oh, it's the new Nightmare. Like,
Did they get divorced?
what'd you say, TJ?
Didn't they get divorced?
Yeah, they're not together anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, my favorite part, aside from the opening, is I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but when Jamie's running across the highway, he almost gets ran over by the exact same semi truck as Pet Sematary. The first truck that almost hits him is the truck from Pet Sematary, or is made to look like it. I like that.
That truck had it out for him.
Yeah. It's like,
Not
Well,
on
it's
my
got him
watch.
the first time, K-Dog. What are you talking about?
and that being one of my favorite parts of the movie, also gave me one of my least favorite parts of the movie, where he was a fucking cloud, and those effects were terrible.
Thank you.
Some of
You
the
mean,
effects
you mean
in
you
this
didn't like
movie,
Freddy Cumulus?
that, and when he was like falling down to the underworld or whatever, are just awful effects. And Lindsay and I were talking about it the other night. We were or last night we watched the first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and it's not a terrible movie by any means. But what Sam Raimi did with the first 2 was like all practical effects, aside from a few things, right? And it just plays so much better on screen. So when you're watching Andrew Garfield's version, you're like, the lizard, they're swinging around. Like it's the effects ruin it, right? And Lizard's a hard character to do without special effects anyways. I get that. So with me, this one just kind of used the special effects a little too much. And when they did, it just cheapened it. And the clouds, that's the worst thing in the series almost, like that I can think of off the top of my
Well,
head.
1994 CG was very, very early.
Yeah, and I can give it a pass, but you know, you watch some other movies from that time frame and they don't look that bad. You know, it could have been a budget thing. I don't know. It also, like I think Kellen had touched on it, it's not as funny. So, and I do defend the remake slightly. I'm not telling you it's a good movie. What I'm telling you, and I've told you over and over again on the show, is if the others didn't exist, it wouldn't have got shit on like it did. Because in our minds, we know who Freddy is, we know what he is, we know what he looks like, we know he's going to have puns and one-liners, and they took all that away. They changed his look. Why do you have a trench coat on the whole time? Was he chilly? Like, bro, you burnt alive. Like, that's your character, and you're wearing a damn trench coat around.
Because he's not Freddy. He's this demon entity thing.
Still, they gave us this
He's
version
Frederick.
that we're not familiar
Thank
with.
you.
Well,
Frederick.
the reason they gave him a
Frederick
trench
Krueger.
coat is because the creepy old man that inspired Freddy Krueger in reality when Wes Craven was a kid was a guy with a fedora and a trench coat. That's why he gave him a trench coat finally.
Oh yeah,
Finally.
he's like,
Yeah,
he
but
looked like
I do think he was trying to cram a lot. It does feel messy. Heather is probably the best part, and she is one of my favorite final girls as well. And she is cute as a button in this one. I had the pleasure of meeting her last year. You guys were there. I don't know if you met her, but you saw her. Sweet as can be. Miko, I met him at the same time. Their tables were side by side. He's fine. I mean,
he's fine.
he's fine. We
As a-
need
as
a
a
kid
person or as an
to
actor?
cry
Okay.
and be a little demonic and creepy. Hey, Miko, get Miko on the phone. Now here's my question, and Vito and TJ, you guys can lean into this question. As I was watching this and the final scene, the final fight, Jamie is running down the hallway. It's the underworld, I assume, like whatever it is.
Jamie?
Yeah, so he's running from Freddy, right? He runs to the end of this hallway. Freddy jumps out. He turns around, runs back. Freddy jumps back in front of him. That suggests teleportation. right?
Yeah,
We can
he's a
agree?
demon.
Okay.
They're in his lair.
Why,
Yeah.
why the fuck did he try to squeeze his ass into the furnace door to try to get Jamie instead of teleporting? Why did he use his arm to stretch to get Jamie when he can fucking teleport?
Bad
Why?
writing.
Because
Bad
Jamie
writing.
went through there, and
I
when
give
he
you
did,
that.
he was
That's
walking.
Wait,
bad
hold on, haters, back off. Let the people that are gonna, maybe convolutely give an answer first, then hate. Now, he is absorbing the entity of Freddy, and Freddy's kind of a dick. So he's gonna pop out here, he's gonna pop up there. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna stretch my arm, and I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. But then Nancy comes up and stabs him in the dick. So hey,
So,
I like to
but
stab him in the dick.
him not using his power to his full extent is why this movie has so many versions
But,
of it and so many
but that's because
sequels.
he's a villain, and he's gonna he's gonna do
Right.
the thing that's gonna scare
Well,
him.
if
He's
he
a
was
Bond
leaning
villain
in-
that explains his plans in front of James Bond while he's tied up.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
If
But-
he's leaning into the Freddiness more than the demonicness,
Yes.
then Freddy always liked to play with his victims. He could have killed him any time, but he always wanted to,
He
lure
had a
them
minute.
into a-
he had an hour and 44 minutes to play with him.
I was gonna
But,
say
but,
he
but, but,
wasn't
no, but,
playing.
Jim,
He
no,
just couldn't get
hold
in.
on, wait. That logic can be put to any Freddy movie, though.
I know. I agree. But this was just blank
So-
because as I was watching it, I was also, and John and I texted about this earlier. He didn't say it. I'm going to say it. This movie's boring as hell.
Yep. It's boring.
I'm not
It
saying it's a
definitely
bad
has
movie.
some moments that lull
It's
in the
so
middle.
slow, and that's probably because the runtime and just the messiness of it. But just watching him reach and try to get bro, this kid got through this tiny hole, and you're now trying to get through this hole. Like, it absolutely makes no sense. And I understand the purpose of it. Like, I get that. Like, he likes to play with his victims. He obviously can't kill Jamie
He
because that
flicked
would
her
ruin the
husband
movie.
in the dick before killing him. Obviously, he's a weirdo.
Which was a callback to the bathtub scene, right? Like, he comes up through the car seat with that one.
And he's like,
Also, part 5. A
And
little
if
bit.
debating.
you notice, they put a early CGI water effect on the seat as the claws are coming through, just like that water scene.
Yeah. So I like that throwback. Also, like, did this made me think of Evil Dead Rise with the earthquakes? Because it's been a minute, but wasn't that what started the beginning of Evil Dead Rise was an
that's what
earthquake?
got him trapped in the apartment.
Yeah, and
And the book came up?
that's how they opened up where the books were.
Yeah,
Which
that-
is a way better movie than this movie, for the
Yeah.
record.
Oh, the new one. Have you seen the teaser for the newest one?
I haven't yet. I need
Oh,
to.
that one long scene.
Where
That
she's
looks
just crawl.
incredible.
Yeah. I made Lindsay watch it. She was like this most of the time, but I don't know. You know me, like, I'm the easiest one to please out of this group. So I don't hate it. I just wish it was a little bit different. I like the idea. Also, the beginning made me think of Evil Dead. It had to have been just the claw. I don't know why. Like, it just made me think of that too. But
Mhm.
I appreciate what it's done. I appreciate Wes Craven for the most part. I think he gets lumped in with some of these other directors that don't really make a lot of stinkers, and he's made some stinkers, bros. He's made some bad choices, and whether he directed it or he wanted to put his name in front of it, like,
Hills Have Eyes too.
you don't see Guillermo del Toro presents, and you're like, what is this shit? This was awful. Like, it doesn't happen.
Right.
John Carpenter, debatable, right? Like, there's a few. The
Mhm.
Ward, for sure. There's a few Carpenter ones.
Ghost of Mars.
Get back.
Excuse me.
Ghost of Mars has a soft spot for some of us here, but yeah, generally that's not a good movie. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I've got. This did not go how I anticipated it to go, which is
Nor
great
did I.
because I like being surprised. But yeah, my biggest takeaways, and even looking at my background right now, his fucking hand like that, I'm like,
Mhm.
it's like a glove you get at Dollar Tree at Christmas, like a werewolf glove that's so big and you can't even do anything every time you.
What do you guys have against Dollar Tree? Seriously,
I love
bring
Dollar
up
Tree.
Dollar Tree. Why you got always talk about it in this negative sense? Come on.
Well, I think where time has not been forgiving to the practical makeup effects of this film is now every year at Spirit Halloween we have masks that are every bit as good as this and better that we can buy for less than $100, and that was not the case 32 years ago when this come out.
That's fair. And like, again, I get, and this is one of those nostalgia movies because it's one that's on during October all the time now. So I understand that nostalgia there. Just never hit with me. So yeah, if anybody has any final thoughts, we'll take those, and then we'll go around, give our rankings, and close
Oh,
up
I had one
shop.
final thought. The thing that I was thinking of that Freddy actually is in this film is it comes from Tibetan mysticism. It's called a tulpa. It's where
A tapa?
Tulpa,
Tapatia?
tulpa.
Tapas?
It's where someone or a group of people think so intently about a thing to where they actually manifest it. And that's really what Freddy is in this movie.
Yeah. All right. Let's go around, give our rankings. We'll start with TJ, Vito, so on.
Man, I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie, and I know it's not perfect. And yeah, Heather Langenkamp's not a great actress, but I still have a soft spot for her and this movie and all the movies that she's in because my three favorites are the ones that she's in. Um, it does lag a little bit. They probably could have cut 20 minutes out of it, but then it would have been an even more disjointed story because without some of those slow moments, the movie even makes less sense, which I think it makes perfect sense as it plays for me. But I've also seen this movie like 20 times, and so I have a different view on it. For me, it's 4 stars. I understand it's for other people. It's got its flaws. It's not a 5-star movie by a stretch.
Not a 4-star one.
Don't worry, I'll fix that rating for
It's
you,
a
TJ.
4-star.
That's fair. That's fair. Faculty's a 5 for me. Love what you love. It doesn't matter. All right, Vito, what'd you give it?
I give it a solid 4. Because I have a lot of love for the movie. I watched it a lot when I was a kid. I watched it. I like the secret sauce of the series is Heather.
Yeah.
You know. So
Vito and
After-
TJ in the morning.
Oh, man.
I don't have any nostalgia for this because this didn't come on the channels that I watched, so I never saw it growing
Nobody
It didn't
asked
come on
you, man.
PBS. It didn't come on PBS. It's
No,
not his fault.
I remember like some horror movies coming on, but this one that just never came on. I guess I was too busy watching MTV. We're all screwed up a little for different reasons. But yeah, I can't go any higher than I did on my Today I Watched every Saturday at 5 p.m. On YouTube's. I can't go any higher than 2. It's just it's such a mess. And it's just, I mean, it's way too long. It's an hour and 52 is just, you could have got rid of the whole hospital part and still made a good movie. So a 2.
All right, Johnny Boy, take it home.
Freddy looks like Lord Zed from Power Rangers at this movie. I just thought about that.
He
It's kind
does
of
with
that
the
style.
hands.
You know who else was a cloud in a New Line Cinema movie? Shao Kahn. Wonder what they were maybe doing the same thing.
Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. So
Maybe they just rescreened it like
No,
Disney.
no. That came out after though. That came out after.
I'm just saying, like
Yeah,
they
it came in 95.
rescreened the cloud thing. So
Yeah.
they already had it.
So
in
they
the
borrowed
CG
from a
bank.
bad movie and made a good movie. That's interesting. Wes Craven.
John, who
Wes-
stepped on your
so-
dick this morning? Jesus.
Wes Craven's C-SPAN. I mean, Wes Craven's do Nightmare, same boring shit. It doesn't work. It's hokey. It's not. It's a mixed bag. But I'll be fair. I'll give it a 2 out of 5. Best I can do.
Wes Craven's ADD nightmare.
That's fair.
Wow.
You angry Kurt Russell looking son of a bitch. I swear.
What'd you give it, Jay?
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, you didn't go yet.
Patience
All right.
is a virtue. So, John, you're cracking me up. I think it's funny that you and Kellen have like almost Freaky Friday, except Kellen also didn't like it. But I give this a 2.5.
Oh, I thought you'd say 3.
I'm not going to say 3, but it's closer to a 3 probably than a 2 in my opinion. I will say, a lot of times I watch movies at work. So movies like this where I'm like, nah, if I'm coming away and I'm like, I don't know if I like that, I will revisit it in a better setting. Like I watched Undertone at work and I'm definitely watching it at night with the lights off because it just makes so much more sense and it would be more effective. But 2.5 for me, which puts us at a 2.9. So we'll call it a 3. So you got your 3.
That's fair.
That's fair.
All right.
If I didn't have nostalgia for this film, I think it lives more in the 3.5 range. But
Well,
it's
nostalgia
still-
matters a lot, and I don't know
It
how you
does.
guys feel about Puppet Master, but someone in this group loves that movie. So, you never know. All right, That's it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. Join our group on Facebook. We have an Amazon Music playlist as well. We might put some songs on this, despite John's objections to it. Vito, thank you again for hanging out with us. Sorry, one day we're going to get on here and everybody's going to love the movie.
I just don't know why John just kept on trying to like punch me in the heart, man. I'm like, what are you trying to do, John? It's like K-Dog was being sensible here. You're just kind of like, yo, we're gonna have a good time, man. We're gonna, we're gonna have our disagreements, and you're just kind of like, yo, no. You have to leave this feeling funky.
He did get into a fender bender yesterday, so
That's true.
That's
true.
but
Like,
still,
So that's what stepped on your dick. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're right.
I talked about it. I think he's
You're right. Okay.
Regardless. So, all right.
It's just coming out. You're like this. Oh, car.
Signing off. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, TJ, and Vito Trigo. And until next time.
Keep it spooky.